Welcome back to part 3 of this base rebuild. Last time I found some lumber that I needed to build out the body, and now I'm going to try to find a shape that fits. I sketched something out beforehand so that I knew how much wood to buy, but I think I was a little too inspired by the original boxiness of the design, and it looks a little unbalanced when I put it onto the actual body of the base. So I'm going to try something different. Something that's a little bit more standard, in line with what you would see, but still unique enough to be my own, I hope. We'll see. This is the first time I've done this, so I like the look of the Firebird, Thunderbird type guitars, and this is sort of an homage to that, but hopefully unique enough. So, now it's time to try to get that shape into the wood itself. I'm starting with the table saw because, as I mentioned in a previous video, this is my main go-to tool, and, well, I made a mistake straight away. If I had a bandsaw, I'd obviously be using that, but I don't, so we're going to try to make it work on the table saw. As you can see, the table saw is not great for making curves, so we're going to go to the belt sander. I'm using the same grit sandpaper that I used for the initial removal of paint, and it's just way too slow to hog out the amount of material that I need to get rid of. This is sped up quite a bit, and I'm barely removing anything, and that's a little discouraging. So we'll turn it off and go back to the table saw. But first, maybe I'll try to use this handsaw that I have lying around. And after a lot of work and very little progress, I've decided to give up. Continuing on in the chain of tools that I have available, it's time to break out one of my least favorite tools, the hole saw. These have never worked well for me. They really just heat up the work. They're not good for large cuts like this, but it's what I have, so I'm going to give it a try. And as you can see, it's starting to burn the wood, and it's not deep enough to go all the way through, so we go through from the other side, and even then, it just doesn't cut it. So it's time to go back to the table saw. And I'm going to try really hard not to cut into the body of the guitar, where I want to keep that shape intact, because the blade obviously isn't vertical. But good intentions and whatnot, I've cut into the body of the guitar again. And if that mistake wasn't portentous enough, nature herself stepped in. The hawk told me it was time to go buy a jigsaw. Not quite as majestic or effective as a bandsaw, but it's portable and it gets the job done. And it's a lot cheaper. This video is not sponsored by Black & Decker, and I don't recommend this jigsaw at all. But it made my cuts for me. And while I was at the store, I picked up some heavier grit sandpaper so that we can be a little more effective in shaping this guy. And cue a very exciting sanding montage. Getting down to a shape that felt right took a lot of work. this is sped up, and I've cut out some of the more boring pieces, or the parts where I had a bad camera angle. But as you can see, heavier grit sandpaper is doing the job of getting a shape that's a lot more guitar-like. And then it's time to go on to the hand sanding. So much sanding. After the first round of sanding, it's time for some wood filler to take care of those table saw mistakes, as well as a few gouges that I put in from the belt sander. We fill everything in and let it dry overnight. And then another round of sanding that I didn't record. Next is sketching out where I want to route the body so that the electronics run smoothly. And that's it for today. I think I've got a good shape and everything's looking like it'll fit. So stay tuned if you want to see how this turns out. Please subscribe to my channel and I'll see you next time.